Hi, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Welcome to the 75th episode of LinkedIn Live session from Power of Knowing Forum. Today, we have the honor of having Mr. Chintan Oza, founder of Anantam Ecosystem, regional director, founder, institute member, IISEC and IEEE India region, led IEE enterprise entrepreneurship. Chintan brings with him a wealth of knowledge and has about 23 years of experience in entrepreneurship, experience in telecoms and ICT sector. Today, he will be sharing his insights on the topic of beyond dilution, fundraising strategies for maximizing valuation and preserving equity. We are excited to have him on the show to learn from his expertise and engaging in a meaningful discussion. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Chintan Oza to our 75th event of podcasting on LinkedIn Live.
Hello.
Welcome, Chintan, sir.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
taking.
Thank you so much, Prem, and congratulations to you on the 75th episode. Indeed, this is a great feat.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, without further this one, we will just dive into the topic that we were discussing. Sir,
Sure.
in your experience, what are the biggest challenges founders face when navigating fundraising landscape?
Oh, that's an interesting question, and that actually connects with my mentoring experience as well. I would like to mention that the first challenge is securing fund, finding investors who believe in vision and who are willing to invest in the stage at which you are in. Apart from this, I must say the valuation itself, because everyone values your startup in a different way. Hence, it becomes very important at the beginning itself to arrive at a mutual forward path for valuing the startup so that you will be able to follow the right schema and follow the same direction. And third thing, probably I would say negotiations. I've seen many founders who are in hurry to accept the term sheet. And this is where many investors win the negotiation and get more equity at a lower paycheck. So these are the things I must mention that these are the kind of challenges I have seen while founders navigate the fundraising. Back to you.
Thank you for that, sir. Beyond the depth and the grants, can you elaborate on the creative fundraising strategies that minimize equity dilution? Some explorative alternate solutions that we can discuss about, sir?
Yeah, so there are alternate solutions. You can go for crowdfunding. There are not many sites which facilitate crowdfunding. You can go for friends and family round. You can even establish strategic partnership with your potential suppliers and customers. Apart from this, while you start generating revenue and when you are into a recurring revenue scenario, you can also explore revenue-based financing. There are not many new innovative ways where you can raise funds and thus you can protect equity and do not dilute it at a very lower valuation. So, in, 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 in summary, I would say that there are multiple uh, innovative ways, and crowdfunding is something which is becoming popular. More and more angels, aspiring angels, are investing through various platforms. So, back to you.
Sir, can you give a little brief of crowdfunding, sir? Because many people have a misconception on how crowdfunding is. So, some insights on that, sir?
Yeah, sure. So as in, I mean, crowdfunding is a platform where the startup gets listed and you are uh, able to, create your profile. Yes, you, as per regulatory norms, you need to update your KYC and then become an eligible investor to invest into the crowdfunding platform. Would be listing various startups, and you would be given a small ticket size to invest into. And then by investing a smaller amount, you can actually be part of their growth journey and then eventually practice your investment tactics. So this is where you can be part of any crowdfunding platform.
Okay.
Basically, crowdfunding platform raises capital from a large pool of individual investors,
Okay.
right?
So,
So one of the crowdfunding platform I would like to mention here is Rangdi, and they are into social investing, social impact space, and they raise as small as 50,000 rupees for a farmer, and you can even invest 500 rupees to help a farmer. So this is the magic of crowdfunding.
some platforms here in India which can be evaluated, sir, or some people can look at these kind of platforms. Any
Yes, yes, definitely. It's very easy. Just Google it and you will get lot many platforms.
no, what based on your
I would
experience?
not like to mention any specific here, so that's the reason I'm saying please Google and then find out the most suitable as per your convenience.
Okay. Sir, how can founders strike a balance between securing capital and maintaining control over their company?
Oh, this is something I would say that it is dependent upon your skill set to negotiate and establish a trade-off. Negotiate terms well. Understand each of the term. Do not assume. Please make sure that you understand all the terms while you negotiate. Adopt stage specific strategies like prioritize debt or grant or friends and family funding in early stages. Consider dilution of equity at a right valuation. You are not setting up a startup to dilute equity. Maintain strong governance. Build a solid board of governance and advisory team to represent your interest. As an entrepreneur, as a founder, you will not be able to negotiate on your own. Hence, it becomes very necessary for you to establish a advisory board. Get the right advisor, get the right advice. And last but not the least, do not make equity dilution as a way to grow your startup. I have seen examples where by the time the startup reaches Series A, the founder has only 11% equity in his hand. So he's not able to enjoy the dividend. And
Hmm.
the kind of cap table they develop is messy. There are 28 investors and each of them are having single digit equity. That is not the healthy scenario to have it. This is not the way to be able to sustain. Hence, it is really important to understand each of the term sheet terms and negotiate well. Back to you.
Sir, at what stage the startup journey should the founders consider incorporating these alternative funding strategies? Can we discuss some timing and strategy implementation, sir?
Yeah, sure. So, stage and strategy should go together. I mean, in early stage, you can focus on grants, working with accelerators, bit of debt financing to minimize the dilution. I recommend debt just for the sake is it's better to pay a bit of interest and preserve equity in your cap table by your side. At growth stage, you can consider revenue-based financing or go for strategic partnership alongside equity. At a later stage, you can consider equity financing because it becomes more relevant, and there are other alternative options which can supplement, like raising working capital or raising even going for unsecured loans. So this is something that I would connect with the stage and the strategy. So basis on the stage the startup is, I have a specific strategy and then guide them accordingly. Back to you.
Okay. Sir, when you say alternative funding, you mentioned about 2 points. One, it can be from people who are having a pool of money internally or with them, and also incorporating some kind of founders or adding few people to the journey, right? That's what you meant to say, right, sir? So, when it comes to funding, what kind of equity should they give in terms of when they want to start, whether based on the technology you will have to look at funding, or based on the idea that you will get funding, so where is that the balance that strikes, right?
The need of the market would actually attract investor and accelerate the startup.
Okay. Okay. uh, can we share a real world examples of startups that have successfully utilized debts, grants, and other methods to preserve equity and achieve high valuation? Provide some practical case studies with that, sir. Any specific
Oh
case?
yes, definitely. I mean, I cannot name the startups. I would wish to refrain from naming them. But yes, one of my mentees used grant to develop prototypes and then went for debt financing
Hmm.
for starting the initial production. And this is how they started. So they won the grant and then used that grant judiciously to develop the prototype and then secure debt funding for the first winning initial customers. One of my other mentee company, they secured revenue-based financing to
Okay.
fuel the rapid sales growth because they were into e-commerce business, and this is where they secured revenue-based financing. So based on their revenue and their subscription sales and etc., they got those kind of revenue-based financing. Another mentee company partnered with a major retailer for distribution, and thus they quickly extended their reach in the market. They piggybacked the supply chain of another player, and thus they minimized the need for external funding. Uh, Either you build a supply chain network and then have those costs, or you partner with established player and piggyback along with them. That would actually help you extend your reach and then boost your revenue. So this is something which I would like to mention. There are not many examples I can give, but I feel these three examples are on top of my mind, and they are proven examples in the Indian market.
Yes, sir. Sir, some kind of grants details, if you can share, what kind of grants are uh, part of the ecosystem that are there of startups? Any?
So there are many grants available for startups at various stage. BT grants are available. There are other MSME grants are available, and there are. I mean, we can discuss offline, and I can help you arrive at available grants for your specific startup.
Hmm.
At times, the major challenge is most of the startups do not have information about eligibility of their grants, and this is where there are a couple of players whom I trust would guide the startup founder
Hmm.
for their eligibility, and then you can choose to apply yourself or take their help to apply for the grant.
Okay. Sir, you being part of the advisory board for startup ecosystem, uh, what kind of challenges or what kind of uh, blockages that the startup uh, people, when they come to bring up startups there, what are the challenges that they face? Some kind of guidance that we can provide, uh, not on a detailed way, but at least on the higher side, some kind of list, maybe one or two challenges that these people commonly face. Can we discuss
Yes,
on that?
definitely. I mean, they build MVP and they start hunting for investor.
Hmm.
They start looking for investor, invest a lot of time. Rather than selling the product, they hunt for investments. And it becomes a kind of, vicious circle. If you do not have decent customer base, the investor will not have sufficient confidence to invest into you. You may not have decent revenue, so you will not be able to move further. Another challenge, what I see is they do not study the investor, in an adequate manner. If
Okay.
the investor has not invested in your specific domain, then there is no point of investing time behind that specific investor. So try to study the themes in which specific investor is investing into. Just for example, if someone is building something which is into foods and beverages, I as an individual, I have not invested into or I do not understand this business. Hence, I honestly mentioned to founders that, hey, I do not understand the industry you are in. I would not like to waste your time, and probably you should work with these one, two, three, four fellows who are good in your industry. And so try to understand their preferences and then work accordingly. Third challenge is they feel that certain information is needed by the investor and then they are a bit hesitant. If you want to build long-term relationship, please sign an NDA and be honest what you're doing because at certain stage, I myself have discovered the kind of enterprise architecture they have, their outflow would be higher as it will be scale up. So these kind of concerns we face as an investor and founders also face as when they approach just because of expectation mismatch and they are not at the right stage approaching the right person. Back to you.
Sir, how can the founders effectively manage the debit to ensure it fuels growth without burdening, becoming a burden for them, sir?
Yeah, definitely. There has to be a smart finance guy around you. You need to have a clear repayment plan.
Yeah.
Please make sure that you exercise discipline on the repayment. Maintain cash flow. On the other side, be very judicious about collections from your customer side so that at least you are able to maintain the cash flow as well as your repayment. Apart from this, there may be certain downside, but do not hesitate to negotiate favorable terms either with your customers or with your investors. You may have a contract with your customer for 60 days credit. And if you are
Hmm.
having a resource crunch, do not hesitate to make a visit to your customer and say, hey, I am having a tough time, and then why don't you process my fund a bit early? Or even negotiate uh, I mean, revision in terms of repayment with your debt provider. It happens, but do not hesitate. Be honest and then move forward.
Okay. Okay. Sir, what advice would you give to founders in identifying and securing non-dilutable grant opportunities? Some actionable steps can we discuss, sir?
Yeah, sure. So, the topic what we just discussed a couple of minutes ago,
Okay.
always research government grants.
Hmm.
I recommend this to all my mentees. Grants are your eligibility as a citizen. Grants are not to be repaid.
Hmm.
Yes, once you get the grant, you need to submit the reports and documentation, which is fair, which is needed by anyone.
Hmm.
But try to look for programs which are aligned with your industry and innovation. We are in a great situation where almost all industry domains are having government grants. So research some to a greater length, make sure you read all the documentation and go for the grants. Another one I would mention is be vocal about the societal impact you are generating. Emphasize on positive or social environmental outcomes of your project on LinkedIn. Engage with thought leaders in that specific domain. And third one would be network with foundations. Connect with organizations that support your mission or
Hmm.
target audience. There are many foundations, like if you are into circular economy or you are doing something good in healthcare, affecting larger population, then you can think of working with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. There are not many avenues where these foundations are also offering. Not many foundations are extending CSR grants to the right initiative. It may not be funding, but it may help to drive a certain initiative in certain region. So this is where research grants work with various foundations, explore which foundations are willing to share CSR funds to drive certain initiatives. That would create a great opportunity for an impact. Back to you.
Yes, sir. So, how can founders optimize their working capital to minimize the need for external financing, focusing on internal resource management and pointers like that, sir? Because resource management is a bigger challenge. You
Yeah, it all
briefly
starts.
gave a hint there, but resource management is one thing. Every startup at the initial stage takes big initiatives, and as the money gets crunched out, they bring
Yes, sir.
out resource management. That is one few examples, or see your thought process being on that side of investing. So,
Yeah.
though you've
So
been an investor again, right? So you are an investor. You support the startup ecosystem. So your views on it.
yeah, sure. So it all starts with negotiating payment terms.
Hmm.
That is the foundational part that creates the entire environment for you to operate in. So extend payment terms from suppliers while shortening the collection times from customers is the magic,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Another point would be smartly manage your inventory. Make sure that you develop a detailed supply chain for each of the SKU if you are into product industry. Make sure because every supplier has got various minimum order quantity,
Hmm.
and then basis on your need for production, you need to smartly manage this inventory. So the idea is to minimize inventory holding cost by implementing lean manufacturing practices. And I would recommend here that every founder who is into manufacturing of products must make themselves aware about lean manufacturing practices. So this is from my side.
Okay. When should we consider unsecured loans? What are the key factors should founders prioritize to ensure flexibility, agility? Some pros and cons on unsecured loans, sir.
Yeah, sure. So unsecured loans give you a boost, but then they also come with the caveat and higher interest rates. I would recommend that you must not opt for a secured loan until you have a clear business plan. You have demonstrated a viable path to profitability and you are you have actually repaid at least one loan. That would help you to get a stronger credit history and get favorable loan terms. There are certain options for collateral. Explore offering personal assets or future receivables as collateral if needed. So try to arrive at a situation, a solution which is something that proves your track record, your credit history. You have been there, done that. You have decent amount of customers. You have good order book, and I would say that you can actually go for offering future receivables as your collateral, and that would create a win-win situation for you as well as your lender, and go for a suitable unsecured loan. But until you have a decent order book, I would not recommend to go for an unsecured loan to my mentees.
So unsecured loans is when you have a brand that can be carried on, right? And
So when
they
you are setting up, let's say if you are into something, you are e-commerce business, you have started in Bangalore, and now you want to go from Bangalore to another 10 cities.
okay.
But first you have a regular monthly recurring revenue in Bangalore,
Hmm.
and you are able to, uh, clearly meet your operational expenditures, and you have certain growth trajectory. In that scenario, you can go for an unsecured loan and then try expanding into city in a phase-wise manner.
Sir, I have another pointer that I want to understand from you is there is one person who is building a product on Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, right? And he has an idea and he has a prototype that, but he doesn't know how to secure funding for that kind of a product. Any suggestions to that kind of idea, sir? Because it's at the ideation stage, it's not gone into a solution yet. So
No, so he need to put in his funds first and then demonstrate a minimum viable project.
okay.
You need to move from minimum viable PowerPoint to minimum viable project,
Okay. Now,
right?
as you rightly said, it is on the PowerPoint stage only. So it is more
Exactly.
on.
So MVP is not a right stage to be in for a longer period.
Hmm.
See, if you are not investing on your idea, then how can you expect other people to invest on your idea? If your friends and family are not willing to invest on your idea, how can you expect another unknown angel to invest on your idea?
Exactly right, sir.
The ideal situation is you must be able to state to the investor that with my funds and my access to my friends and family, I could expand to this much place, and I am maintaining the momentum
Hmm.
to the next level. I need more funds, and this is where I am approaching.
Okay.
Right? Until you are able to say this to anyone, probably you are investing and wasting your time in wrong direction.
Okay. Sir, building on the concept of comprehensive strategy, can you outline key steps founders should take when crafting their fundraising approach? Can
Yeah.
we
So
do?
this is
Yeah.
yes. So this is actually I recommend this to all my mentees, and we actually redefine the funding needs. They come up with a higher value. I need 4 CR, I need 20 CR, I need 1 CR. But they they carried away in raising the fund. We help them determine the exact amount needed, and then we break the entire requirement into multiple phases. So the initial requirement becomes lower. In fundraising, the lower the requirement, better the chances of success. As a next step, they must identify target investors, research investor types, and their investor investment preferences.
Yeah.
Do not work on emailing list and then start cold emails just like that, because then you may not be approaching the right investor you should work with. Always craft a compelling pitch. Develop a clear pitch. I also advise my mentees to record their pitch and then share it in form of a YouTube video with investors.
Hmm.
A 3 minute or 5 minute pitch duration is ideal, but don't go for 10-minute pitch. You are not recording a documentary. 3 to 5 minute pitch is sufficient to convey from where you are coming, from where you are going, and what is the team strength you have to scale up the product. Another point, maintain flexibility. Be open to adjust according to investor preference. Apart from this, market conditions also matter. I've seen one of the IoT company. They have got an unsold inventory of around 3,800 units, and to preserve these 3,800 units, they had to actually rent out a 2 BHK apartment, and that is something, sheer mismanagement.
Hmm.
So have an eye on your inventory, have an eye on your fund, have an eye on your collection, have an eye on your funding needs, and never raise fund in excess. Please be judicious. I've seen people raising 10 CR, 12 CR just on some idea, and they say that because someone else in so and so geography got this much funding, why shouldn't I get it?
Yeah.
But that may not be the right scenario. You cannot blindly copy paste those conditions and then say, I also deserve this much of funding. That's not the right thing to be in. So these are the kind of points you should consider while you make your fundraising strategy. Back to you.
What would be the common pitfalls that founders fall in, sir?
So pitfall is, I would say, their expectations are high. They are not working with the right investor.
Okay.
They are not having the right sense and mix of fundraise modes. Like you can, while you start raising for crowdfunding, You can also try to get some debt and explore grants.
Okay.
Instead, they just most of the time they depend on raising funds from a VC, and then their ticket size is too high, and this actually delays their entire project, and thus it creates an imbalance in their vision.
Hmm. Sir, I think with this we are good with the thoughts or questions that I had in mind. Okay. Thank you for being part of the event, sir. Great having you on our 75th event. It is a pleasure understanding your views, your pointers. Any last minute words that you would like to add, sir? Add or give as a suggestion for the audience here?
Yes, you build a startup, you build a product or service for your customers, not for your investors. So
Hmm.
chase your customers, investors will follow.
Okay. Sir, I have one question from Dr. Shekhar Pawar. I am bringing that question on to this one. As a startup which is looking for funding, what are the documentation to check?
Yes, work with a known investor. They will also do a KYC of yours, and you also have a right to check with them about their incorporation, their history, and their portfolio companies. So be honest and ask these questions.
Okay. Shekhar, sir, hope you got the answer. We'll connect with Chintan if that is to have more detail. Chintan can give you that kind of a detail. You can connect one on one with Chintan. Sir, to add, Dr. Shekhar Pawar has been a speaker in our event. He has a product which is um, product on cyber security, and he's written books also on this one. So I'll ask Dr. Shekhar Pawar to be in touch with you and see what.
Definitely, my pleasure to interact with him offline.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Sir, with this, we would like to conclude our show. Thank you for being part of the show. It's a pleasure having you, sir. Sir, I lost you. Voice.
No, 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 I'm there. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.